Hello, Lightning Stalker here again with some welding tips. I have some tips about buying a welder. This welder here is the one that I use the most. This is Miller XMT 304. This is, in my opinion, the welder to get if you're a small shop doing limited production runs. It's the most versatile machine of its size. You can select all kinds of different processes. Some of them you'll never even use. Just going across here, it's got scratch start TIG, lift arc TIG, regular TIG, but that requires external HF unit, I think. Mosquitoes are bad. But anyway, there's MIG, pulsed MIG, which you can do a spray arc. That requires an external pendant. They call it the pendant. It's the I think they call it the Optima. It's just like a little remote control to set your parameters for your pulsed MIG. You can do spray arc, which is where the arc actually sprays onto the workpiece, and you can go real fast with that and get excellent penetration. But that's mostly if you're really doing a lot of production. You can use that. Optional. CC, constant current with a foot pedal. You can stick. That's for stick welding with a foot pedal for your heat control. And you have regular stick welding, and V-Sense feeder is the last setting. That's when your feeder, which is on top of my homemade welding cart here, has a voltage sense function built in, and usually there's a voltage control on there too, and that just allows you to set your voltage from, say, your power source is on a wall or something that's away from your welding area, and then you have your feeder closer to your weld where you're welding. That allows you to set your voltage and feed speed on the feeder itself. Otherwise you have to set the voltage right here with this knob. And you'd have to walk all the way over to the welder to set that. But you'll probably never use that if you're just doing small production runs and you have it mounted to a cart like I have here. This welder came with the S22 feeder, which I highly recommend. It's a very good MIG feeder. It's the cheapest one. You can probably get it for around $150–200, and it's got it doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it's built tough. Like, I really like the Miller equipment. I'm really partial to it. You can just look inside. It's all heavy duty aluminum and heavy duty drive rolls. Here's your drive rolls here. You can get different drive rolls for this. Now if you're just if you're just going to do some stick welding, and you're not going to do any production, you're just using it for hobby or maybe art projects, and you're a good stick welder, you can pick up one of these right here for a lot cheaper. It doesn't have anywhere near the versatility. You can't really see it, but the front of it, I'll turn it around here. This sucker's heavy too. This is a iron core transformer in here. The one I just showed you, the Miller, is a inverter, so it's a lot lighter. But anyway, this is your basic Lincoln AC225. These are really sturdy. They've been making these for a long time. Here you can set your amperage with this switch here to 225 amps and down to 40 amps. 75 is the minimum that I would go. You can't do very thin materials with this, but it does really good on thicker stuff, anywhere from 3/16 to on up. It's a Hobart MIG welder. I recommend those if you're not very good with stick welding. Let's see, it's the Handler 187, I think is what it's called. Handler 187. Hobart actually is made. Hobart is a subsidiary of Miller, and so it's pretty good quality. From what I've heard, I would recommend that one. If you don't have those skills, or you don't want to spend a lot of time practicing your stick welding. Some things you want to look for. I know this has probably been drilled into your head, but I'll say it anyway. You want to look at the duty cycle of your welder. You want to get the highest duty cycle you can afford. Because if you overrun that duty cycle, like say your duty cycle is 10% in a 10-minute interval, now that's pretty low. If you run your welder more than 1 minute at a time, you will exceed that duty cycle and possibly damage your welder if you keep doing that. So you want to get the highest duty cycle you can. Watch out for the 5-minute rated duty cycles, because if you convert it to a 10-minute duty cycle, it can sometimes be actually lower, even though it's a higher number, higher percentage for 5 minutes. When you go by the 10 minutes basis, it ends up being lower. But you really don't run into that in the United States. If you're buying from like say Home Depot or Lowe's or Tractor Supply. But if you buy online, if you're buying an oddball brand, one of those Chinese welders that's not Miller, Lincoln, or Hobart, or ESAB, I would try to stay away from it.